ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति।
Sir, I have one clarification.
Yes, Naranji.
I did not attend the last Thursday live, but I saw the YouTube archive lecture where
Okay.
you're explaining this chanting of Shatarudraya once or 100.
Yes.
When I read this last para of mantra, it reads, advice to chant always or once means that spiritual discipline, particularly meditation, is measured not by the length of practice, but its depth.
Yes.
Thus, the Guru assures the seeker that with concerted, concentrated effort, he can reach the state of enlightenment.
Yeah. Correct.
So, does this length refer to 100 and depth refer to 1?
Yes. Correct.
So, okay. In which case, how to understand the meditation as one deep effort or many spurts of efforts, or is it?
Yeah. Now, in the commentary, the last paragraph, he says, particularly meditation is measured not by the length of practice, but its depth. While explaining this word, once, always, or once. Either you chant it always or you chant it once. For that, the commentary reads, the advice to chant always or once means that spiritual discipline, particularly meditation, is measured not by the length of practice, but its depth. So, length means 100 times, depth means once. We can take it like that. Meaning, in the initial stages, it is always the length. In the initial stages of practice, it is always decided by the length of the study, by the length of the practice. By the length means you practice and then many a times we will fall from the practice and then we come back to the practice again. We practice, we fall, we practice again, we fall, we practice again. This is the length of the practice. As I am practicing the length, I have to be careful to ensure that the preparation hits a depth. For realization happens only upon the depth. And what does depth means? Every time you sit in meditation, we assume that it's going to happen now and we put our heart and soul in that. That is depth. Every time the seeker here sits for meditation, it is assumed that this is going to be the last act. No more actions is going to happen. So the person sits with that conviction. What happens? First meditation will be few seconds. First time you sit for meditation, you can actually meditate only for few seconds. After a few years of practice, it will go to a few minutes. From that few minutes, it will go to, the time goes on extending, extending, extending. A time will come where you will sit in meditation and hours are gone, and you don't even know that hours are gone. It's not that you are asleep. Even in deep sleep, we will not know that time passing by. It is not the deep sleep that it's not the state of deep sleep. Then what is it? A awareness. An awareness. In that awareness, you realize the self, and that's it. That is the depth. What is the realization? No more thoughts arises. No more thoughts arises. That is hitting the depth. To explain it on a practical plane, there is this statement: Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Of these two, Brahman is real, Jagat is temporary. Of these two, what is difficult to understand? What is difficult to digest and accept and understand? Brahma Satyam is very easy. Understanding Brahman as Satyam, there is no difficulty. Knowing Brahman as reality is not difficult at all. That is very easy. A few classes, a few verses you by heart, you will know that Brahman is Satyam. Trouble comes is to call the Jagat as Mithya. What is hitting the depth? An experience where the Jagat is experienced as Mithya, instantaneously, simultaneously, Brahman is experienced as Satyam. Till now, what is happening? Jagat is experienced as Satyam, and we are constantly brainwashing ourselves to say Brahman is Satyam. Deep down, the conviction still is Jagat is Satyam. Deep down. So, what is depth means? An experience. Because of the limitation of the language, we are using the word experience. It is because of the limitation of the language. In a very, very poor sense, we are using the word experience here. There is an experience. That experience does two things simultaneously. One is the whole thing is seen as Mithya. As soon as you realize that it is Mithya, Satyam is revealed. That point is hitting the depth in meditation, and once you hit it, yadgatva nanivartante tadhama parama mama. Once you hit it, you don't get back. Once you hit that point, once you hit that depth, there is no going back after that. Meaning, no other thought will arise. No other thought will come. Why no other thought will come? Thought will come only when the Jagat is seen as Satyam. When the Jagat is understood as Mithyam, there are no more thoughts, which is what he calls as depth. The practice is depth. Till now, that depth cannot be gotten straight away. That depth will be hit by regular practices, which is the length. So, what is important is the length, and the length itself is a preparation to hit the depth at some point of time. Minus the length, one cannot hit the depth. The Guru's advice here is, don't be satisfied by the length. thoughts are still coming back. No. Jagat is still seen as, Jagat is still there. No. So as long as the Jagat is there, you have not yet, you have not yet learned. So in that sense, he says, it is depth. Thus the Guru assures the seeker that with concerted, concentrated effort, the concerted, concentrated effort is the length. The concerted, concentrated effort is the length. At some point of time, it hits the depth. This is how we say he can reach the state of enlightenment. He reaches the state of enlightenment by this practice. This is how the explanation goes. Is it okay, Narayanji?
I followed the meaning.
Yeah.
While you were explaining, you mentioned that in the seat of meditation means I was under the impression the sannyasi will be in the meditative state, going about normally, but in a meditative state. But is it to also be understood that he has to practice meditation by sitting in meditation? That means in like what is otherwise understood, like
Yes.
yeah,
A
like
sannyasi,
how we do Gayatri mantra by
yes,
sitting and cutting off completely.
a sannyasi does two kinds of meditation. Meditation is of, now what Narayanji is asking is, will not sannyasi be doing open eye meditation all the time? Does he also have to sit and close the eyes and practice the actual act of meditation? Open eye meditation is more like some activities are still happening. The person has to still practice closed eye meditation. Just as the example that you gave is correct. Just as I can be aware of the Gayatri mantra, the meaning of the Gayatri in and through all my various activities. Distinct and different from that is I shut down all activities and sit and only contemplate on that mantra. As I am doing everything, I can be aware of it. Like, I used to travel by bus to go to school. Regularly, the same time, same bus, the same group of people, more or less. So, by and by, what happens? They will form a group. By and by, they will form a group. And then what they will do? You can see these distinct groups in the trains. A few will start playing cards as soon as they get in, because you still got to travel for another 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. One group will start playing cards, another group will open up the bhajan books and they will carry the symbols and all that they'll carry, the jalra, all that they will carry, and they will start. Now, this is also a kind of reminder, distinct in and through the other activities they are doing this. Distinct and different from this is where there is no desire for any other activity. Where there is no vasana for any other activity and the person just sits and does meditation. So here in this mantra 1, in the advanced stages of meditation, it actually means the person sit in the proper posture. Like in the 6th chapter, he gives the procedural details. He talks about the posture, he talks about the seat, he talks about the quality of the seat, he talks about the breathing, meaning you need to actually do meditation in the recommended proper posture. That is the last thing that happens. Open eye meditation to self-realization doesn't happen. Even though we talk about open eye meditation a lot, we don't talk about closed eye meditation at all. Even though we talk about open eye meditation a lot, in the last, very last stage, the person has to sit with closed eye meditation. Naturally, the person will be doing that. So what we do is, from the beginning, we prepare ourselves for it. Instead of preparing the seat, the body, the posture, and all that at the last minute, we anticipate that we will reach that state one day. And what do we do from the beginning? We start preparing ourselves. So when we reach that state, the body, the seat, the preparation and all is done. You just slide into meditation realization. So sitting with the closed eye meditation happens at the, it has to happen at the very, very, very last stage. And that very last stage will not be just one act of meditation. Like, it's not that suddenly one day the person will wake up, sit in a meditative seat, he comes out enlightened. Even then, some practices, even there, a practice is required. So, it is done, but we do not talk about it at all because it is totally irrelevant to talk about the closed eye meditation at this point of time. Therefore, to raise the level of awareness, we talk a lot about the open eye meditation. Open eye meditation is the Shruti. What is open eye meditation? Open eye meditation is the example of the Shruti. In the classical music, there is the Shruti. I'm not going to the example of the Shruti because we know that example already. You follow what I'm saying? As the person goes through the various ragas and talas and the songs, he is attuned to that attunement to the Shruti in and through the activities is open eye meditation. A stage comes where there is no other activity happens. There is no other activity. Why there is no other activity? Because there's no other vasana. Because for action to happen, you need a desire vasana backing it. Because of the whatever the spiritual practices he has done, then practically almost all vasanas are eradicated. What is the last traces that remain? The last trace of ignorance. What is the last trace of ignorance? That's what I said already. Jagat Itya. It's a sudden revelation. It's a sudden revelation. You can't fix that. It's a sudden revelation. The Jagat Mithya simultaneously reveals Brahma Satyam. That simultaneous revelation of Brahma Satyam results in the declaration Aham Brahmasmi. All happens because of explanatory purposes. We are talking as though it will happen one after the other sequentially. In all practical, realistically, all this happens even before the split second. At this point, only Swamiji gives example of Ramakrishna Paramahansa's example. Needle piercing the lotus petal. Ramakrishna Paramahansa gives this example. What is the last point? He says, it's like a needle piercing the petal. The needle pierces the petal and leaves no damage to the petal, and it's so subtle, it is so sensitive, it is so soft. How much time it takes? Time becomes irrelevant here. So in that sense, the answer is yes. At some point of time, the person has to do closed eye meditation. In fact, the last thing is the closed eye meditation. Is it okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
Open eye meditation, in and through all the activities, like example for Srutina, but in and through all the activities, I keep telling Gayatri. Is that open eye meditation?
She is asking what is open eye meditation. Open eye meditation is when you are doing an activity, you can get involved in the activity. What is open eye meditation? When you are doing an activity, the awareness of the reality is behind the activity. The awareness of the reality can be chanting Gayatri, or it can be chanting the Lord's name, or it can be Om, anything. It can be anything. It's not specific to something. But the point here is you are not. The point here is you are not carried away by the mind is not carried away by the activity. Mind is not carried away by the activity. Activity happens, but the mind is not carried away by the activity. That is open eye meditation.
Even while things are going on, whatever teaching is happening, I am talking to me. If teaching is going on, and then when this is what I have been taught, I am trying to remember it, and then Gayatri is going on, and I am also being carried away with the activity. These things are all happening simultaneously.
In the initial stages, as you are doing an activity, if something is happening in the background, it is called a lack of concentration. You will follow? In the initial stages, you need to, the activity has to be done with focus. Here we are talking about a very advanced stage of open eye meditation is practiced by a sannyasi, not by the initial stages of spiritual practitioners. Don't practice open eye meditation. They are supposed to practice karma yoga. Who practices open eye meditation? Sannyasi practices open eye meditation. That is why in the same mantra, he said it very clearly. He who is of the highest order of life, Adhyashrami. He says that, no? He who is of the highest order of life. What is the highest order of life? Sannyasa. Sannyasa is the highest order. Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. And what is Sannyasa? A lifestyle where not much activity is there. A lifestyle of contemplation is sannyasi. What is sannyasi? A lifestyle of contemplation. A lifestyle of contemplation with minimum activity. That is sannyasa. Sannyasa can be seen as the attitude. Here, he means not only the attitude, he means a dedicated, distinct lifestyle. It's a distinct lifestyle. What is a distinct lifestyle? A lifestyle for contemplation. A lifestyle for contemplation with minimum action. Minimum action means less of Minimum action means less of what kind of action?
Guru Seva.
Minimum action.
Maybe that's not Guru Seva.
Minimum action means minimum obligatory action. Obligatory action itself has become minimum there. Action means what kind of action? Minimum obligatory action. What is that minimum obligatory action? Nididhyasanam, Guru Seva. Contemplation, meditation, service to the Guru. Contemplation, meditation, and service to the Guru. That's the lifestyle. That person is called the sannyasi, and that sannyasi in the initial stages will practice open eye meditation, and during a part of the day he will practice closed eye meditation. At what time? That's where in the Vedanta treatise, when he's talking about meditation, he says 4 to 6 we have to sit and meditate. 4 to 6 you have to sit and meditate. He says that. Nowadays we don't say 4 to 6 meditate. 5 to 6 listen to the lectures. That's all. We have come to, from meditation it comes to sannyasa. From sannyasa it has come to karma yoga. From karma yoga it has come to at least to do Shravana. It has come to that point. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is open eye meditation? Sannyasi does open eye meditation. And what is open eye meditation? Minimum obligatory action and a lifestyle that is suited for contemplation. By default, that person will not be into very many worldly activities. By default, he will not be into very many worldly activities. Okay. Sitting in the other part of the world, he will not worry, oh my God, April 6th is election. My social obligation is to come and vote. It's my social responsibility that I have to come and vote. Sannyasi will not have all this. Sannyasi will not have all these problems. Are you able to follow? He will not have this kind of, the obligations become less and less and less. Nididhyasanam and a lifestyle of contemplation and Guru Seva. And what the Guru will do to this person? Push the person for more and more Nididhyasana. He will say, don't waste your time in Guru Seva and all. And he will push the person for more and more Nididhyasana. Why? Because he says, what Guru Seva and all? Such a emotional, useless thing this Guru Seva is, he will say. Focus on Nididhyasana and get into Nididhyasana, get into meditation and realize the self. So what the Guru will do? He will say, the Guru Seva obligation now is over. Now there is only one thing to do. What? Meditation, self-realization. Are you okay? So, where we are now, don't connect anything of what we discussed in the Upanishads to where we are now. Upanishad is discussed for what? Arranging. Unnecessarily, I have to please Ganesha. Yeah. Unnecessarily, I have to please him. That's why I started this. Otherwise, I would not have started Kaivalya Upanishad only. Huh? Ganesh, you only asked me, no? You only asked, sir. I said, okay.
You oblige, sir. You oblige us.
Correct. Correct. What we discuss in the Upanishads is we keep it as an ideal. We don't connect it to what we are doing right now. Never make the mistake to connect. The Guru's advice is directed to whom? It's very clear. The Guru's advice is directed to whom? Adhyashrami. Adhyashrami sarvada sagrutva japet. Adhyashrami. Adhyashrami means belonging to the highest order of life. And what is the highest order of life according to the Upanishads? Sannyasi. Here he is not talking about the attitude of sannyas. Remember that. He is talking about the lifestyle, means not akar rope again. Because during the Upanishadic times, there was no akar rope sannyas. Please remember that. The akar rope sannyas and all came much later. In fact, this akar rope sannyas was borrowed. It was borrowed from Buddhism. They started it first. Before that, there is no akar rope sannyas. They just leave everything and go and sit in the. They just leave everything and they go and sit in the forest. There will not be a big paraphernalia of taking sannyas. So we have to understand the context of sannyas in the way we have to understand the meaning of the word sannyas in the context of the Upanishad. So even as I am saying lifestyle, don't immediately equate it to the lifestyle as akar rope sannyasi. Not that akar rope sannyasi, a lifestyle dedicated for lifestyle is contemplation. Now, what is our lifestyle? Very difficult to find time for Sravana only in the first place. And then much more difficult to convince to do karma yoga. That is our lifestyle. So what is the lifestyle here? Sannyasi's lifestyle. The sannyasi's lifestyle is one of contemplation. Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is a combination of contemplation and meditation. What is contemplation? Contemplation is the integration of the head and the heart. The confluence of the head and the heart is contemplation. What has turned Shravana brings a conviction. There are 3 stages: Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. In Shravana, you will be able to understand, but you cannot accept. That is Shravana. And what Manana does, what you are not able to accept, by repeatedly going through this process, you develop a Nishta, conviction. So Shravana brings about a conviction. Are you able to follow? See, Shravana, you understand. If it is spoken in the language that you know, with some stories and with some explanations and with some logic and reason, understanding is not difficult. You will understand. Understand, but you cannot accept it. So what Manana does? Samshaya Nivritti. Shravana is Ajnana Nivritti. Manana is samshaya nivritti. Nididhyasana is it's called Viparyaya Nivritti. See, Viparyaya Nivritti na the duality goes. I and God are separate, that goes. That Viparyaya Nivritti. So, Shravana clears. Shravana is Ajnana Nivritti. Freedom from ignorance. Freedom from ignorance. What is ignorance? There is this Brahman, and you are that Brahman. Ignorance goes. You are able to understand it. That's why when the lecture is over, you say, fantastic lecture, we understood it very well and all that. You switch on the phone, one message you see, all the knowledge is gone out of the window. Yeah. Come to you listen, you understand, you are floating as though you are near Brahman, and that one person walks in back to square one. Yeah. This is the stage of Shravana. This is the stage of Shravana. You are able to understand. You are able to appreciate it. Manana is samshaya nivritti. Manana is samshaya nivritti. What is the samshaya? The samshaya is always one of, there are two things. One is questioning, another is doubt. What is the difference between question and doubt? Vedanta distinguishes between the two. Samshayatma pranashyati. Samshayatma vinashyati. Pariprashnena. Two things. These two words are used in Bhagavad Gita. Samshayatma pranashyati is used in, he uses it in Bhagavad Gita. Pariprashnena is also used in Bhagavad Gita. Now, pariprashnena is questioning. Samshayatma is doubt. Now, what is the difference? Doubt is, what if it happens? What if? What if? What if? There is no answer to what if. Anything you conclude, you can always ask the same question, what if? And people go on asking this what if, thinking that they are thinking. Huh? It doesn't lead to thinking. Yeah. The person wants to do something in life, you can ask, what if you get bored with it? What will you do? What can the person answer? Are you able to follow? The person is getting married. What if the marriage breaks? Plan B, yeah? Plan B. And plan B doesn't work. You need to have plan C. And plan C doesn't work. You need to have plan D. And all plan works. You become. Yeah, what happened to the one who is sitting and planning? Depressed, worried, anxiety. This is called samshaya atma. Manana removes the samshaya. What is the samshaya? What is the samshaya? Mind, if it doesn't want to focus on that, it will ask what if. What if it doesn't work? Is there a guarantee that it will work? It means the mind doesn't want to Mind doesn't want to focus. The mind doesn't want to cooperate. This samshaya obstructs wisdom. So samshaya nivritti. What is samshaya nivritti? Doubts are removed. Everybody follow? Shravana understands, but you cannot accept. Why are you not able to accept? Because doubt keeps lingering. That's why you are not able to accept. Doubt remains. What is the doubt? In the class, you are floating in Brahman. As soon as the class is over, you go out. What I have been floating in Brahman, I fall crashing. Clear? This is why. This is the doubt. Are you able to follow? This is the doubt. Manana is very important. Reflection. Because it is reflection that removes the doubt. What is implied in Manana is a practice of karma and bhakti is happening along with Manana. It is implied here. In Mananam, it is implied. In Mananam, what is implied? A practice of reflection along with karma and bhakti. See, karma and bhakti is always combined. What is karma and bhakti combined means? Action with the right attitude. One is the technique of action, another is the attitude behind the action. One is the skill, intelligence behind the action, another is the attitude behind the action. So when you combine all this, it turns into Karma Yoga, Shravana and Mananam plus combination of karma and bhakti. Is a preparation. Is a preparation. Preparation for what? Preparation for Nididhyasanam. The preparation for Nididhyasanam. That is why in Kaivalya Upanishad, mantra 2 is the direct means, mantra 3 is the indirect means. Mantra 2 is the direct means, mantra 3 is the indirect means. Indirect means seed is the cause for the tree. Direct means, what is indirect? Contributory, soil, temperature, water. These are all the contributory factors. Are you able to follow? So, Mananam, Shravanam, Mananam, Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, these physical exercises, the Pranayama, the Karma Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, all these are contributory means preparing the person for jnana.
Yeah.
In Atma Bodha, he has said it very clearly. Sakshan mokshaika sadhanam akasya vaknivat jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. Shankaracharya is borrowing the Upanishadic idea and he's saying that. He's not saying anything of his own. He's borrowing the Upanishadic idea. So, Shravanam and Mananam. Medicine and the diet, no. Medicine is direct. Diet is supporting. Yeah. Medicine na aushadhi. Diet na patyam. Yeah. The direct and the supporting. Are you able to follow? So Shravana, Manana, and all this prepares a person for what? Matures to Nididhyasanam. In Nididhyasanam, what happens? There's an integration of head and heart. Confluence is there already. There is a confluence of the head and the heart. There is a those unhealthy emotions of kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, bhaya, and all that is
That is.
removed to almost negligible proportions. All that is reduced to almost negligible proportions. In this evolved state, in this matured state, I am Atma Brahma practice. I am Atma Brahma. Abhyasa Vakya. I am Atma Brahma. I am is this. Not English I am. The Sanskritam I am. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. This is the length. Someday, at some point of time, because of the maturity in this I am Atma Brahma practice, the persons sit with the meditation. In the last act of meditation happens. Om, Om, Om. No more Om after that. No more Om Naka. That person has reached the state. Isavasya Upanishad puts it so beautifully. Isavasya Upanishad puts it so beautifully. Ushanne karshe yamasurya. There is the disc. There is the disc that is covering. And it's the golden disc, not dark disc. It's the golden disc. Why it is called golden disc? It's called golden disc because he started seeing something already. He knows, there is something that is a golden disc. Before he can know what it is, the disc goes. That experience is so stunning. Even before he can capture that instrument, even before he can capture the experience, the instruments are gone. Instruments are gone. Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi is present continuous. It means I was Brahman in the past. I am Brahman now. I will be Brahman later too. Aham Brahma Asmi is not saying I have become Brahman. Aham Brahma Asmi says I was always Brahman. I was always Brahman. Not that. That's what actual realization is. I have attained. If anybody says I have attained, you know that person didn't attain. Why? Attainment is an action. And Brahmatvam is not an action. To attain some attainment happens through a product of action. Yeah, idallam we have seen in the elementary classes. All this is the elementary classes of the elementary Vedanta. This that which is the product of action has to be sustained by action, and if you stop action, you will lose it. And definitely one day you are going to stop activity. What is that day? Definitely one day activity will stop. What is that day activity will stop? You will not even know that on your death. It means Brahmatvam will go upon your death. No. No, it has got nothing. Since it is not a product of action, even death cannot. Even death has no role there. Otherwise, if it is a product of action, We all know that definitely one day action is going to stop. Action is going to stop one day. Only thing is we don't know who is going to stop first. All of them. Yeah. Yeah. My grandfather could not have believed that his son will die. That is my father. He died. My father died. And when he died, he had such a great plans for me, thinking that I am not going to die. Now, what am I doing? I am having great, grand plans for my. So activity is going to continue, but then we know that activity comes to an end. If activities is going to come to an end, will Brahmatvam also come to an end? No, no. Everyone follow? Therefore, Nididhyasanam. So, Aham Brahmasmi, self-realization is saying, recognizing that I was Brahman already. Swakanda Baranavat, Atmabodha example we saw. Swakanda Baranavat, like the necklace, the lost seconds. Upanetravat, Dashamavat, clear. Fellow wearing the glass, searching for the glasses. And then he says, in the excitement of acquiring the glass, he says, I got it, I got it, I got it. In the excitement, he says, I got it. But factually, what it is, actually, it was there already. It was never lost in the first place to say, I got it. The excitement makes him to say it. Like the lady says, I got my necklace. I got my necklace. I got my necklace back. I got my necklace back. The necklace, she got the necklace back, which was never lost. She got the necklace back, which was never lost. That's Amavat, the 10th fellow. Therefore, at what level the open eye meditation we talk about? Highest order. What is the highest order? Nididhyasana level. Viparyaya nivritti. Viparyaya nivritti means the duality is removed. The duality is removed. What is the duality? The seeker and the sought. In Shravana and Manana, the seeker in you is getting established. In Nididhyasana, you negate the seeker in you. For the seeker is the sought. The seeker is the sought. What is he seeking? It turns the whole thing. See, it prepares you and prepares you. Doesn't take you logically to the next step. It prepares you and prepares you and prepares you. At the last stage, it turns the whole thing upside down, as it were. In Shravana, Manana, Karma Yoga and all that, you being the seeker is getting established, strengthened. In Nididhyasanam, what is removed first? What are you saying?
I'm not the seeker.
I am not different from that which I am seeking. I am not different from that which I am seeking. I am not different from that which I am seeking. This is known as I am Atma Brahma. This is what is called I am Atma Brahma. The person who knows the language knows what he is saying. Now, I am saying that in English. That which I am seeking is not different from what I am already. This is known as I am Atma Brahma. This is the Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Adhyashrami sarvada sagrutva japet. The person of the highest order in life should do that. He doesn't say sannyasi. In the modern day context, we have to interpret it as sannyas. He is only saying he has reached the highest order of. What is the highest order of life? The highest order of life is sannyas. The four ashramas. Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Brahma Vidya is an intuitive, subjective experience which is inexplicable. Brahma Vidya is a subjective experience which is inexplicable. You know it and that's it. It is inexplicable. All the faculties combined cannot explain what that state is. From our practical angle, that's why I gave this. From our practical angle, always remember this. Brahma Satyam is never a problem for us. To digest the fact that Jagat as Nitya is the problem. Sir, Brahman is Satyam means why Jagat has to be Nityam? Why can't you say Jagat also as Satyam? Why are you unnecessary? Okay, let there be two Satyams. No, what is the problem? Why can't there be two Satyams? Why can't Brahman be Satyam and the world also is Satyam? Why can't it be so? Then we will turn back and ask, how do you define Satyam? What is your definition of Satyam? Trikale Vinnavad Bhati iti Satyam. That which existed in the past, that's called Trikale. That which existed in the past, that which continues to exist now, and that which will continue to exist in the future is Satyam. Vinna, without any vikara, without any change, without any modification. It remains the same, the past, present, and future. So, two conditions. One is it exists and it remains the same. That is Satyam. And the world doesn't fit into this definition of Satyam. Why? Because world exists at one point of time, it doesn't exist at another point of time. Even as it is existing, it is constantly changing. Even as it is existing, it is constantly changing. That which is constantly, that which doesn't remain the same even for a split second is Jagat. That which doesn't remain the same even for a split second is Jagat. That's why he says, the person walking into the room is not the person who is walking out. You already changed. But we don't see it. We don't notice it. Nididhyasana makes you to be aware of it. Mityam. Mityam means, what is Mityam? Mithya means temporary. Temporary. And what is the definition of temporary? It exists as long as you see it. That is temporary. It exists as long as you see it. Why that person is such a bad person, sir? As long as you see it, it will be like that only. So the badness is not in the other person. The badness is because you see it. Everyone follow? Mithya is temporary and it exists as long as you see it. So, what is the real challenge that we have in understanding? Brahman is real is not a problem. God is real is not a problem. The Jagat is temporary. The Jagat, you should be calling the Jagat as temporary. You should not call it as unreal. You cannot call it as unreal, but you have to call it as temporary. Everybody else says, to say God as real, sir, you don't have to say world is Mithya. Vedanta comes and says, God becomes real only in relation to the world as Mithya. All other system of thinking says, why are you making this connection unnecessarily? God created the world, and the world that He created is also Satyam. For Satyam cannot create anything. From Satyam, Asatyam will not come. From Sat, Asat cannot come. Therefore, right? From where did you get this? Haven't you studied Mundaka Upanishad? In the Mundaka Upanishad, it is said very clearly, just as the spider spits out and swallows back. The spider makes the web and swallows the web back. Similarly, God is the Srishtikarta and God is the Layakarta. The world comes out of Brahman and goes back into Brahman. It's not Mithya. The starting point of philosophy is, the starting point of Nididhyasana is Jagat Mithya. Jagat Mithya. If it is Mithya, how is it appearing as Satyam now? Because of long association. The Mithyam is appearing as Satyam. Why? Because of long association. Vijay, correct? Correct in சொல்றேன். Up. Wrong. One important word is missed. Because of long, unintelligent association. It's not just the long association. It is the long, unintelligent association. The long, unintelligent association. So, what does Nididhyasana do? Cuts this long, unintelligent association. Nididhyasana breaks this long, unintelligent association. One more clarification and then we... Kaivalya Upanishad is not finishing me. It's not leaving me. I thought I will finish last mantra. I thought I will finish Kaivalya Upanishad and today. I thought I'll close the shop today. One more clarification and we'll come. Yes. Yes.
But you rightly observe and you rightly also put it across. Another class the height of relation as if the next moment I am going to be self-realized in the அவ்வளோ உச்சகட்டத்தில் இருக்கு. அப்போ புரிஞ்சாதான் நம்மளால அவ்வளவு தூரம் போக முடியும். புரியலன்னா நம்மளால போக வாய்ப்பே இல்லை. அப்போ அவ்வளவு தூரம் புரிஞ்ச நம்ம கதவு திறக்கும் போது இன்ஸ்டன்டா கிராஷிங்கும் ஆகும். அப்படி ஆகக்கூடாது இல்லையா? ஆனா அப்படி எப்படி ஆகுறது? எதனால அது?
The question that she is asking is, we are all so elevated. As soon as we open the door and go out, what is it that is bringing us? What is it that is causing the crash? In the classroom, it is borrowed. It's not our own. It's borrowed. It is the greatness of these masters. It is the greatness of the Upanishadic masters. We are borrowing that. It's borrowed. Loan money la kuda I can think I am rich. No. With borrowed money also, I can think I am rich. But the truth is, it's borrowed. So in the classroom, inspiration is borrowed. Sadhana is one soul. Inspiration is always borrowed. The greatness of the other is rubbing on us temporarily. The greatness of these masters is rubbing on us for a short period of time. That's why as soon it is over, the whole thing collapses. பூவோட சேர்ந்த நாரும் மணக்குன்ற மாதிரி இது. Yeah. They make the garland out of the thread. The flowers have the fragrance. The thread has no fragrance. Because of the association with the flower, if you smell the thread, the thread has a little bit of the fragrance of the rose. But in truth, fragrance belongs only to the rose. Because of it is just temporarily rubbing in. What we should do? We should quickly use it and we should make use of it and evolve fast.
அந்த crash ஆன நிலையில அப்ப என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? crash ஆயிடுச்சு.
After crashing, what do you do next morning? After crashing, what do you do? Recognize that you have crashed and go to sleep. And next morning, what you have to do? Shravana Manana. That is why first lifestyle is Ravana and Manana. First lifestyle change is the Shravana Manana, the first thing in the day. That's the first lifestyle change. The second lifestyle change is the attitude into action. Karma Yoga. The second lifestyle. Are you able to follow? After crashing, what? You have to crash because you should not assume you are rich on borrowed money. No. You can live on borrowed money and you can have and you will appear to be rich. Yeah, you will appear to be rich. The truth is you are not rich. Are you able to follow? Crashing is not a sin. Crashing is inevitable. Crashing need not make a person feel inferior. Crashing is not a sin. Crashing need not make you feel inferior. Crashing doesn't disqualify you. Not expecting to crash at all is greed. That's greed. Are you able to follow? It's very greedy to expect that I should not fall at all. Swamiji said, 1,000 times you will fall, that he said. You will fall 1,000 times, you will fall. 1,000 times you will fall. So what? In 1,000 times you fall. So what? Don't fall like a lead plate, fall like a fall. Don't fall like a lead plate. Lead plate falls and it stays at the same place. Golf ball falls, but it bounces back. That bouncing back is the Shravana Manana. The next day Shravana Manana. The next day Shravana Manana is the bouncing back. If you are result oriented, you will not bounce back at all. If you are result oriented, greedy, you will not bounce back. You will say, oh, all this will not. I have tried all this, sir. All this will not work. All this is nice to. All this is nice to hear only. And you people cheat us to make us believe that it is easy and all that. Why? Because they got in with so much of greed. Got into with so much of greed. Are you able to follow? It's not. Fall is inevitable. Fall is inevitable. Why the fall is inevitable? I have not done enough manana to remove the doubts. Shravana is done enough. Mananam is not done. That's why samshaya is there. It is the samshaya that brings us. It is a samshaya that brings us down. What is the samshaya? Whatever you say, Jagat is Mityam, Jagat is Sakyam. That is that. How much ever you can say Jagat is Mithya, 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 to me, Jagat is Satyam only.
That is crash.
That's what causes the crash. That's what causes the crash. So, through manana, reflection. Every time you fall, remember the very first mantra of Kaivalya Upanishad. Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davaihi. Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davaihi. Every time you fall, Shraddha helps you to, only Shraddha will bring you back. And Shraddhavan Labate Jnanam Bhagavad Gita. And Shraddhavan Labate Jnanam Bhagavad Gita. In Vedas, there is a Shraddha Suktam there. One whole chapter is dedicated to. There is one entire chapter dedicated on Shraddha. Falling is inevitable. Shraddha helps you to bounce back. What will help you to bounce back? It is Shraddha. It is Shraddha. That's why I don't know whether it is. I'm sure it is mantra 1 only. Mantra 2, sorry. Tasmai sahovacha pitamahascha Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davaihi. Is that it? Kaivalya Upanishad. Part 1, mantra 2. First quality he says is Shraddha. Why? Fall will happen. And what will help you to bounce back? The Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Shraddha is the capacity of the intellect to go back and reflect again and again and again. What is Shraddha? The Shastra Vakya, Guru Vakya as Satyam is Shraddha. The conviction that the Shastra Vakyam and Guru Vakyam is Satyam, meaning that which is told in the Shastras is true. That which is told by the Guru is truth. Okay. That is Shraddha. Is it okay? Are you able to follow? Yeah. One more and we conclude. Yes.
Pranashyati, Vinashyati. Rendo one where
Pranashyati and Vinashyati. Is it one or? Is it one and the? Are they the same? Are they different? Yes, they are the same. Pranashyati, Vinashyati, all means the same. Means completely destroyed. Samshayatma in English is doubting Thomas. In English we say don't be a doubting Thomas. No.
Doubt is destroyed.
Yes. All doubts are cut asunder, he says, no? All doubts are cut asunder. In the 15th chapter, he says, where all doubts are cut asunder. The doubts are cut. All doubts goes.
ಅದಾದ ಜಗತ್ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾ ಅದರ ಡೌಟ್ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ.
Jagat as Satyam is gone. Jagat as Mithya is, there is a conviction, a firm conviction.
ಹೌದಾ?
Yes, a firm conviction that Jagat is Mithya, but Brahman as Satyam is not yet experienced. That's the Nididhyasana, meditation. There is an intellectual conviction and there's a confluence of head and heart that Jagat is Mithya. Okay, but that Brahma Sakshatkaram has not yet. Brahma Sakshatkaram has not happened. The experience of Brahman is not. That is meditation. Yes.
Nididhyasana goes open mind and close mind and
Yes.
as included.
Yes.
Close and then open mind meditation.
Yes. In Nididhyasanam, first is Nididhyasanam is sannyasa. Sannyasi does some actions first, contemplation. From contemplation, he goes into matured state of open eye meditation
Open mind.
while continuing the contemplation, and then goes to finally
Close.
the closed eye meditation and self-realization. Clear? With this, we conclude for today, and we continue Kaivalya in the next session also.